Hi guys, today we're going to look at the warehousing module. I think there's a lot of people specifically waiting for this module. So let's get started. So what I've done on this business, I've created a bank account. I've created 2 customers. I've created 2 suppliers. I've created a purchase invoice specifically to show you what different states stock will be in, whether it's been delivered from a customer to be delivered to a customer, to be received from a supplier. There's different states and we'll get to that. I've created a few inventory items. I have also created inventory locations. So here you can create different inventory locations. I've created warehouse 1 and warehouse 2 for the specific demo. So let's get back to our summary page. We have the following situation. We have created a purchase invoice for 2 CPUs from the specific supplier. Supplier hasn't been paid yet. So what we'll do is let's go have a look at what it does to our inventory. Here it says that we've got quantity 2. So let's have a look at that quantity. That quantity says quantity to be delivered from supplier. So we haven't received that stock yet. It needs to come from the supplier. So let's go to this invoice. Let's pay the supplier. Let's pay the supplier from a bank account. We can also immediately select the warehouse where we get that money from. I don't want to do that now. So let's create. So now we've paid the supplier. If we go look at our inventory, we still haven't received this from the supplier. So let's have a look what we can do. From there we go to good receipts. So now if we paid the supplier pitches up at warehouse 1 and says, here's your stock. So let's receipt our goods. Go from supplier A. Our hard drives, 1 terabyte hard drive, our CPUs. We've received 2 CPUs in warehouse 1. Let's go look at our inventory. Now you can see that we've got nothing to be delivered from the supplier, and we've got 2 in warehouse 1. All right, let's do the same again with a new purchase invoice from supplier B. And we'll order 1 terabyte hard drive from supplier B. 1 terabyte, we've ordered 2, and we click create. Again, we can see that we've ordered it, we haven't paid it yet. We can look at our inventory items. We've got 2 1 terabyte hard drives, and again, to be delivered from supplier. So we've ordered, we've got a 30-day account with this specific supplier, and the supplier sends a stock. So let's go, we receipt this specific goods as well from supplier B. It's the 1 terabyte hard drives. Select our 1 terabyte hard drives. We've got 2, and supplier delivered to warehouse 2. Okay, let's have a look at our inventory. Our inventory is warehouse 2 has got 2 in stock because we received our goods. But if we look at our purchase invoice, we haven't paid for this purchase yet. So we can still receive the stock even though we haven't paid the supplier. So let's pay the supplier quickly. Just say payment, location. We don't have to select location because we already receipted the specific goods. Great. All right, so now we've paid the supplier, we've got our inventory in stock. We've got 2 CPUs in warehouse 1, and we've got 2 hard drives in warehouse 2. Now we've got a situation where I need a CPU in warehouse 2 and I need a hard drive in warehouse 1. So let's do an inventory transfer. We physically move the stock and then we do a transfer. I just want to make sure by inventory again. We've got our CPUs in warehouse 1. So let's do our CPU transfer first. CPU to warehouse 2. We do 1, warehouse 1 to warehouse 2. Okay, let's do another inventory transfer of terabyte to warehouse 1. So let's select the 1 terabyte drives, warehouse 2 to warehouse 1. Click create. Let's go have a look at our inventory. If we look at our inventory, we've got 1 in warehouse 1, 1 in warehouse 2. And if we look at our hard drive inventory, we've got 1 in warehouse 1, 1 in warehouse 2. Okay, now that we've seen how our stock works, now we have to sell this to a customer. So we've got different situations, same thing with a goods receipt with different customers. Customer places an order. We invoice the customer for customer A for a 1 terabyte hard drive. Okay, customer is invoiced. If we look at our inventory items, you can see we've only got 1 in stock. But let's have a look at that. We owe 1 to a customer, whereas 1 has got 1, whereas 2 has got 1. So this customer hasn't received his stock yet. So now the customer does a payment. So let's do our payment. Let's do a payment. And here we can select which warehouse we want to invoice this out of. But because the customer is just doing a payment, it's not collecting yet. We're not going to select the location. We're going to click create. So if we go to our inventory, we still got 1 in stock. Still 1 in warehouse 1, 1 in warehouse 2, and we owe our customer 1. But if we look at our sales invoice, the customer is paid. Now the customer, you tell the customer that he can select warehouse 1 or warehouse 2 to collect from, and he pitches up at warehouse 2. What we do is we go there and we copy to delivery note. We now select warehouse 2 where the customer is, and we click create. Customer has collected from warehouse 2. We look at our inventory. We can now look at our hard drives. We don't owe the customer anything, and we don't have anything in warehouse 2 anymore. So that customer is selected. It's collected. Another way is we've got a walk-in customer at warehouse 1, and that walk-in customer wants to buy a CPU. So we go to our sales invoice, new sales invoice, customer B. Customer B wants a CPU. We select our CPU. We create the invoice for the customer. Immediately we receive money because the customer is standing right in front of us. It pays into our bank account. Payment. And we select warehouse 1. The customer stopped at warehouse 1 and is physically collecting from warehouse 1. And we click create. We haven't created a delivery note. So even though the customer is selected from warehouse 1, we still have to go to our sales invoice. We still have to go to customer's B's invoice, and we still have to copy to delivery note. When we copy to delivery note, we can select again location warehouse 1, and we click create. If we go look at our inventory transfers of our inventory items, we can now see that warehouse 1, the customer selected, we don't owe the customer a CPU anymore. Thanks for watching, and please subscribe.